Good afternoon. Happy Friday. Sure, I was going to make sure this volume's down on this other machine so that we don't get a super fun echo. Hope everyone has had at least a mediocre week, if not better than that. Just wanted to jump in. It's end of work day, grabbed a drink, and figured we could talk ship if anyone's around. It was a not uneventful week in cruise news. Happy to talk about that, discuss your upcoming trip plans, talk about mine. Maybe they'll intersect. We can hang out and have this drink with a better background. Maybe a slightly more realistic cruise ship deck than that one. Oof, let's cut down on this backlight here. Oh, my chat's there. We are. Pascal, hello, hello. Ethan, hello. Welcome, guys. I hope, like I said, hope everyone has had a good week. I realized as I was setting the title for this broadcast that there is a universal truth that we are all one day closer to our next cruise, and it made me think. I don't know when my next cruise. Well, probably. I suspect that April 7th. That's then when we're going to be on Oasis of the Seas for a weekend. That'll be the next one, but. I have some others that I'm thinking about booking soon, and excited to get that done. It's always booking like a last minute thing is fun because all of a sudden you're on a ship that you had no idea you were going to be on, a couple days or a couple weeks before. Phil, Australia is opening up for cruising April 17th. First ship starting in June. I am absolutely delighted for my friends in the Oceania region. Australia, New Zealand, anyone that cruises out of that area. It's been a long time coming, and yeah, that's awesome. Also, I've seen some incredible rates out of there. I don't know. I guess they figure there's so little lead time on cruises starting. They haven't been able to market a lot of these sailings that they're just saying, okay, we got to make the first ones real cheap because people haven't had time to plan and jump on. Rich getting on Wonder of the Seas in 2 weeks. Oh, yeah, she turned around today. Matt got off today after being on there for 2 weeks. I should have stayed on. I should have stayed on. We had a great maiden voyage on Wonder. I got a hat, some custom Coke bottles, a mason jar. That's always fun. I forgot to fix the camera since we talked last time, so I'm going blurry again. That's exciting too. But yeah, I really liked Wonder. I actually looked to see if there were any good deals on Wonder sailings coming up, and they're not bad considering she's a new ship. But when I compared to some of the others, it was not as enticing. But I will get back on there at some point because there were still parts I won't be putting together a Wonder of the Seas total ship tour because that's a lot, and I just unfortunately didn't have the time. But when I watched some other folks ship tours, I realized there are parts of the ship I never even saw. So we got to get back there. Ethan, happy birthday! Uh, hope it is a wonderful and not hungover day, being the day after St. Patty's Day. On Quantum, in 73 days to Alaska, I want to go back to Alaska. Especially, I went out to the mailbox earlier today, and it was what was it 94 is what the car said. I don't know what the real temperature was, but that made me think, yeah, I need to go someplace cool at some point. Katie just got off Independence. Very crowded and fun cruise. That's something I was actually going to be doing a talk about later. Probably talk about it. Maybe an article. We'll see. Um, is that it was so cool on Wonder to actually see people there, right? Yeah, capacities are still lower, but some of the sailings I was on, they were so quiet that it just wasn't the same. Whereas this one with Wonder, actually, there was energy. So I'm looking forward to doing more of those. Scott, Laura, hey there. You know what? Just this morning, I actually saw that I missed an email from you. I apologize. I will. I gotta work out my email filters better, but I will respond to you probably tonight, if not this weekend. Quantum, Hawaii to Brisbane, 208 days. Man, Quantum and that region getting a lot of attention today. My first Quantum class ship was actually called Quantum Ultra class, and that was when we were on Odyssey a couple times a few months ago, and enjoyed that class of ship quite a bit. Speaking of stuff with Royal Caribbean sent an email. I got it. Maybe you got it. just a couple days ago saying, hey, there's a change in protocols. And every time I see one of those emails, I read it real carefully because sometimes it's like a nothing. It's like just a minor wording tweak, and sometimes there's big news. And this one was not insignificant news, but not huge. Huge if you have kids, for sure. And that is that unvaccinated persons on Royal Caribbean will now, in most ports, be able to disembark without an excursion. What they've been doing up until today, in fact, was making so that if you had an unvaccinated kid with you, that they had to go on they could only get off the ship through a ship sponsored excursion, through a Royal Caribbean excursion. That is no longer the case, except in St. Lucia, Dominica, Barbados, and Falmouth. Didn't know Falmouth was going to be on that list. Barbados doesn't surprise me. They've been pretty strict since the beginning, though they've been very friendly to the cruise industry and welcomed us on Celebrity Millennium on that very first cruise back in June. Brandon Owen. Brandon, did you read my latest post? I don't think you did because I didn't get a message from you. See, I drop these little tests in sometimes when I publish videos or articles, like the video that I published the other day about kid stuff on an adult cruise line that apparently like nobody watched. Sometimes I put a video together and it bombs, but I know Brandon didn't read my latest article. Uh, Karen, I still love you though, Brandon. Karen, you got off Oasis the other day and found that it was very quiet. Yeah, a lot of sailings. One of the things I've mentioned recently is that most people book most cruises 1 2 years out. So even if every cruise line said, "Hey, 100%," it's going to take a while in most cases to build that up because people just haven't been able to book these sailings, or they were reluctant to, which is understandable. So that'll take some time. Wonder there were a lot more people on because it was a maiden. There was a lot of attraction there, and it was everyone knows it's a perishable circumstance because Wonder's not home ported here in Fort Lauderdale, and in fact wasn't supposed to be here at all. But so yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing. I'm on Oasis for a 3-nighter in April, and that'll be real unusual, a 3-nighter on Oasis, and so we'll see what that looks like in terms of the atmosphere on board. Shame, 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 Brandon. Uh, Ethan, your iPad's about to die. Here, it's okay, buddy. Just plug in. See, I always keep a cable handy, and this is where I realize the focal length on this lens. Trust me, there's a cable here. See, just plug in. It'll be fine. But thanks for hanging out, Ethan. Oops, too many clicks as I knock things over. That was all for a prop. All for a prop. Who knows? I might have just knocked a drink onto a tablet. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Um, so yeah, there was that Royal Caribbean email. Again, great news, especially for those with kids that aren't yet vaccinated, so they can get off and do as they please in port with those exceptions. There were a couple other announcements as well, including NCL, and I thought this was interesting, and I want to better understand it. NCL is actually they announced that they were canceling their Baltic sailings on Getaway for the 2022 season. Now you say, well, Billy, there are some things going on in the Baltics, and that's true. However, they had already changed itineraries and dropped calls on Russia. So I was surprised to hear that they canceled those sailings, which also means they were canceling other sailings in that region that were just impacted because they're moving the ship. But I don't think they've announced where the ship is going. We'll see if other lines follow suit. This could also just be a case of if sailings weren't doing well and they say, geez, it's just going to be hard to fill them right now because of uncertainty and doubt in the region, that maybe they think they can do better moving the ship elsewhere. So disappointing for those booked, but I get that 100%. It makes sense to me. Um, other COVID related stuff that was announced, and this one I mentioned because it's a nothing thing that people are going to think it's a big thing. That's there was a cruise line that actually dropped COVID testing requirements, but it's uncruise. The reason that I make the silly face there and say "but" is because uncruise does their vessels are under 100 passengers. So since the very start, in fact, the rules kind of haven't applied to them. And in fact, they're also the first. I mean, they're one of the only U.S. cruise lines, but they're the first one to require everyone is boosted. They're the first one that I'm aware of that operates out of North America that requires everyone is boosted. Some other cruise lines have been doing that in Europe, including I think P&O, Cunard. I guess Cunard operates out of the U.S. sometimes, and there are a couple others. So that was interesting. but not that big of a deal because it's not like we're seeing any of the major ones drop testing, and I don't think we will for quite some time. So that's the deal with that stuff. What other? You guys are not very active today. Brandon's now feverishly reading my latest post. Um, which, by the way, that latest post for those who aren't Brandon is all about a celebrity announcement. Celebrity announced entertainment details, some details, not terribly granular, for Celebrity Beyond. That is the latest Edge series ship, and the one I'm most excited about. If you've watched anything I've ever done, you know I love the Edge series. Edge and Apex. We just had the Apex group cruise. Brandon's eating dinner. Early bird gets the discount. Um, you can ignore me. Eat your dinner, Brandon. Thank you for hanging out. Um, so I love Edge. We're just on Apex. In fact, in January is part of the for the very first Cruise Habit group cruise. Shameless plug, by the way. You can join us on the second group cruise coming up July 3rd. Virgin Voyage Group Cruise.com. Come check it out. Um, But the Beyond is the third Edge series and is materially different from the first two. In fact, I think it's almost 10, it's about 9% larger in terms of internal displacement. They've got a whole new specialty restaurant, like an additional one, a two-deck retreat, new infinity pools over at the rooftop. There's all sorts of stuff that I'm really excited about. And because the entertainment on Edge series is especially wonderful, in my opinion, that leaves me particularly excited for what they had to say about Beyond. Now, they didn't tell me about anything that was going on in Eden. They didn't say it publicly, and I've talked to some people over at Celebrity, and they had nothing to say about it either. So we'll see what happens there. It was all very ambiguous, but they did announce some cool stuff for the club. A regular jazz kind of thing going on in the club. I forgot. I think they call it. I don't. I should have the article up. Something jazz at the club, but and the club rendering looked really cool. The club is a multi-purpose, multi-story venue on Edge Series ships, and it's where they have the nightclub, yes, but they do other stuff by day. Like I've done drone racing and archery there, all sorts of weird stuff. But in the renderings, at least, it looks a lot brighter. I love that space. I love that room. But in the middle of the day, you go there and it's just kind of dark. Um, so I was really happy to see. In fact, let me bring up one of the pictures. I'm really happy to see two things in the rendering. One of them being that just the overall look is brighter. Let me share my screen here. Yeah, there we go. One is that the overall look is brighter than the club on Edge and Apex. And two, you see these? It now this is just a rendering. It's just a rendering. But if this is accurate, if they actually have windows here, and if there are like drapes or something on these windows, that would be really cool because this looks out to the kind of promenade deck, if you will. So there are lifeboats right there, but it would allow in some natural light, and that would make it even cooler. I really like that space, so any improvement to it is awesome. It's pretty, it's useful. They have amazing shows there. In fact, here's a picture that I took from one of their shows. Doesn't that look amazing? Oh, there's Carly. I didn't even realize when I made this. Um, so yeah, excited about that. Maria, can't wait to cruise again. Do you have a cruise booked, Maria? And if so, which cruise and why are you not cruising with us? I think those are the questions. Maybe not in the proper order, but those are the questions. Let us know. Where'd my notes go? Celebrity Beyond Entertainment. So check out the rest of that article over at cruisehabit.com. Got pictures, information, not just information from the cruise line, but also what I think about those things, what I'm looking forward to seeing, and why. I will. I like to say I will never, but also hesitant to ever say never. Um, but I like to never just like drop information that you can get straight from the cruise line. I like to add my context, my thoughts, my opinions, and maybe you don't like it. The italicized part is from Celebrity. You can pay attention to that if you want to ignore me. Uh, does Ovation of the Seas have a private karaoke room? As far as I'm aware of, no. As far as I'm aware of, someone can correct me, the only Royal Caribbean ship that has private karaoke rooms is Wonder, because On Air, I think, is what it is. I believe on all of the other Oasis class ships. Um, it's like a place where they do karaoke and sports and stuff like that. But on Wonder, that space has private karaoke rooms. I'm not aware of any. Pascal, thank you for confirming. Pascal says it. I believe it. I'm not aware of any other Royal Caribbean ships having that. But, 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 shameless plug time. Do you know what ship does have private karaoke rooms? And in fact, I got like awesome drink service in those karaoke rooms, and they're well themed. Virgin Voyages, check it out, virginvoyagesgroupcruise.com. I need to put like a darker background on that, or just wear a darker shirt when I'm going to do that. Shameless plug. All right. Dan Feely. I just saw your name in my mailbox the other day, Dan. I know why. You know why. We hanging out, Dan? I hope so. Dan, we got to meet and hang out with on Virgin Voyages Scarlet Lady. Was that the Christmas sailing? I believe that was the Christmas sailing, and had a fantastic time. Come hang out. I won't make any damn jokes. You have my word. What else do we have going on? Oh, NCL Prima. So as much as I'm looking forward to Beyond for all the things that are different, Prima. I don't know why I haven't written about this ship more. I should. That's true. We sang Rent in the private karaoke booths. Dan was there. I was there. NCL Prima is interesting to me for a couple reasons, and Pascal's booked on Prima, which makes it even more interesting to me. One, she's the first NCL ship that from her conception was overseen by an NCL with Frank Del Rio at the helm. And the reason I think that's significant is because he's a very hands-on person, especially when it comes to design. Like more hands-on than you can imagine when it comes to design. So I suspect that there will be a lot of him on this ship. And so if you've ever seen like the Oceania Regent vessels, especially like look at the Oceania Next project, look at the refurb vessels. I think I have a an article with a bunch of pictures of Serena right after she was refurbished. When I say she was refurbished, cruise lines usually leave staterooms untouched because it's expensive. I mean, they tore out walls in staterooms. That's how thorough they were. So if you look at that ship and you think, oh, well, that looks nice. That's the kind of stuff that that Mr. Del Rio, the CEO of NCLH, is very hands-on with. So that's one of the reasons I'm looking forward to Prima. She looks completely different, and I trust in his design, his aesthetics. The other reason is, and it's been really unusual that NCL has been pointing this out. I think it's great, but something I talk about a lot is passenger space and passenger crew ratios. Usually you see, almost always you see more favorable ratios as you go up market, right? And NCL is a great company, but they're a contemporary line, so you see those, things are a little more dense in there. Not on Prima. Prima has passenger space ratios that are more similar to premium lines, which is interesting because that costs money, right? If guests all have more space, that means there is space that is not being used directly to generate revenue. In other words, that means there are places they could have put cabins that they didn't, and other stuff. So I'm excited about that. And NCL made a new announcement about Prima, which is that Katy Perry will be the godmother. And this is interesting to me because rarely does anyone name a pop star that I can immediately picture. Because I'm not really good with pop culture, but Katy Perry, I know who Katy Perry is. So that'll be neat. And I'm booked on Prima right now, and I keep saying this every time that I talk about it. I may need to reschedule which one I'm booked on because of a conflict for another sailing. Where's Annette? Is Annette here? Annette, fix this. That's my awesome touring plans travel agent. So yeah, that's the I think that's all the big stuff. We talked about Royal Caribbean's new ShoreX rules. We talked about Norwegian canceling Baltic sailings, Norwegian Prima, Uncruise dropping testing. I almost said texting. Katy Perry godmother, Celebrity Beyond Entertainment. One thing I will very, very briefly touch on, and it's not even the type of thing that I usually talk about. It's not the thing I like to talk about. Plenty of others give the facts, and I appreciate that. A lot of awesome bloggers and vloggers out there. There were two man overboard situations in the last week. It is unfortunate. It is, for whatever reason that ever happens, a tragedy. It's getting a lot of attention. I understand why people pay attention to the cruise industry, especially for negative stuff. Um, I the thing to keep in mind is 30 million people cruised in 2019, and where a lot of these situations are tragically suicides. I would keep in mind that if the the U.S. Suicide rate was represented in the world of cruising at that 30 million number, we'd see 405 a year, which we don't even see a tenth of that. So, just it's unfortunate, it's tragic. I hope everyone struggling gets the help they need before doing something desperate. But I bring it up only to say, when you see these things, don't think. I don't want people to picture that this happens all the time on cruise ships, because that's not the reality. Brandon, NCL Escape. I know exactly why you're asking. You know what? Here's what we can do. I know how we can solve this long term for you, Brandon. I'm going to, at some point, do a video live, probably, with someone who you've probably seen before. And we are going to talk specifically about anything you want to know about NCL Escape, like anything. This person is a pro for some very specific reasons. This person's a pro about NCL Escape. That's what I'm going to do for you. In fact, Brandon, if you want it to be in person, all you need to do, and I wonder if anyone can guess what Brandon would need to do to find out in person. He would just have to go to virginvoyagesgroupcruise.com. And I mean, sign up and book. It's not on the page. You'd have to actually go on the cruise, but you get my point. Let's see. Do I have any other cruise news to talk about? I'm not the cruise news guy. You guys know that, but I do like chatting and talking ship, especially on a Friday. It was a busy work week for me, all the while trying to get out some helpful and entertaining information in the world of cruising. So to that point, if you guys haven't checked out my latest YouTube video, it would be really, really cool if you did, because like no one else has. I've never launched a less successful video than the one that I put out the other day, and I thought it was interesting and enjoyable. Brandon, you get to see video of Larissa laughing. Everyone likes that, so check that out. Oh, wow, that was timing. Hang on. Sandy, I'm going right back to your comment. Brandon, I didn't even see that you said that when I said the thing about video of Larissa laughing. So check out that latest video. You get exactly what you asked for. Sandy, you haven't cruised in over 6 years. You'll be on Liberty of the Seas next month as MDR quality declines. Seems like a lot of people choose specialty dining nowadays. This is a great question, and I could talk at length about this, and I probably will right now, but maybe even more at length later on in another video or article. So first, there's the whole disclosure: food is highly subjective, right? There's actually there are 2 or 3 considerations here beyond just the subjectivity of food. One, I like cruising Royal Caribbean. I like cruising all lines, but I've cruised Royal quite a bit. I was just on a week ago, and I'll be back on in, what was it, 2 or 3 weeks. However, I will say they're very inconsistent in many aspects, in policy, in aesthetic, sometimes even in a lot of things, and one of them is food. So I think that can ding any organization's reputation. That's one of them. In fact, I had not had a meal in the main dining room of Royal Caribbean ship. I was going to say in several years, but there was COVID. But in a number of sailings, like I sailed on Royal Caribbean, um, I think for over 2 weeks before I dined this year alone, or in 2021, before dining in the main dining room on a Royal Caribbean ship, because in the past it was fine, but didn't really excite me. Had a great meal on Odyssey, and then some people on the next week said it was, or 2 weeks later said it wasn't so great. I don't know how much of that was inconsistency, how much of that was subjective. More people that I talk to than not do enjoy the main dining room, though. on Royal Caribbean. I think the reason that you see so many people talk about specialty dining is because marketing works, right? Give somebody something even more, whether it's actually better or they just perceive it as better. Maybe the food's the same, but it's a better experience or different experience, unique experience. People people respond to that. So I think part of it is marketing, part of it may be inconsistency or reputation damage from inconsistency. Um, and part of it also is dining plans that make it easier. If somebody, we tend to lean into what we pay for, even if we don't want it, um, because we want to get our money's worth. A lot of people look at dining plans now because they don't want to think about it. And I 100% get that. 100%. They don't want to think about, like, how much they're spending along the way. So they say, well, I'm going to get a dining plan. Then what are they going to do? They're on board. Well, we might as well go enjoy all the specialty dining, right? Because we paid for it. So I think that's another reason. So I would check out the main dining room. Judge for yourself. Judge for yourself, your taste buds, your opinion on your sailing. I can tell you, I had breakfast in the MDR on Wonder, and that was nice. I hadn't done breakfast in the main dining room in a long time because I don't wake up early enough usually. And I had lunch in the main dining room, and that was good. So, and I do lunch semi routinely in main dining rooms on Royal Caribbean and other cruise lines, and that I'm usually pretty happy with. I really like Royal Caribbean's salad thing. I don't know if they've restarted that post COVID. I hope they do soon if they haven't. But check that out. So I know that was a very long answer, Sandy. Um, but yeah, I think it's just there are a lot of options. Marketing works, and in some cases, inconsistency dings reputation. I would not hesitate to go because you know what? If you go and you don't dig it, you can go get something else. But I think more often than not, you'll dig it. Pascal, yes. Larissa, everyone loves Larissa's laugh, and then sometimes she'll hear it on a video and she says, "I have such a goofy laugh." I'm like, "Yeah, but everyone loves your goofy laugh." She just from the other room said, "Hey." Apparently, I said it's not goofy at some point. I was lying. It's goofy, but everyone loves it. Kim, Craig and you will be sailing on Edge April 3rd. Do I think Eden will return to its original entertainment programs? Any idea? Uh, that's a great question. I don't believe that they were returning to the original, like, Revelation stuff. Unfortunately, I don't believe that's the case. If you send me a message now, later, whenever, so that I don't forget, I can ping somebody about that though. I don't know what they're doing there right now because, Apex, they had designed those shows. We saw one or two of them when we were on Apex together, but then there was one that we didn't see because it was, I guess, too involved, too close up to people. So they changed because of Omicron concerns at the time. So they have like those bespoke shows, which are different from Revelation, the original Eden shows, but I don't know that what the replacement is on Edge right now. So I'll send me a reminder, and I'm curious. So I would love to find out for you and for me. Brandon, wrapping up dinner, going to mix up some dirt and look for that article on the brewery and also your video and the latest article. You, Brandon, your messages this evening are very prophetic. Make sure I said prophetic. I would never call you pathetic. I look forward to hearing what you think, Brandon, and enjoy your dirt. If that was dirt, what is this? Actually, this isn't Laphroaig or anything. This is actually a Japanese whiskey. Oh boy, what else? Any cruise questions? Dan Feely, you've been surprisingly quiet. You hopped in. I was so glad to see you, and then your word per minute really dropped down to what I've become accustomed to. Maybe get some coffee. I hope we get to see you, Dan. I'm gonna harass you about this, even if you say no. Like, I'm gonna harass you about it. There's my focus thing again. This is very exciting. All right, guys. Well, if nothing else, I think I'm going to run. I'm going to go pick up a new robot vacuum that I just bought because a robot vacuum died. We're going to bury it out in the yard. I was going to cremate it, but apparently it's not good for the lithium batteries. Um, get very if you don't have a robot vacuum and you're on the fence. I was on the fence for many years, and then I got one. I was like, man, definitely should have done this earlier. Changed my life. And you think, oh, did it save you a lot of time vacuuming? No, before I just didn't vacuum and it was disgusting. So that's how it changed my life. Brandon, have a fantastic evening. I miss you guys. Pascal, too many stairs and dog hair for those. Yeah, I realize it can be a different consideration for pets. So it seems like that's one of the things that that vacuum companies, robot and otherwise, have been working on a whole bunch. I mean, the stairs thing can't do much about that. You can try throwing one down the stairs. That's not how mine broke. I'm on the fifth floor. Everyone would know it. Sandy, no problem. Always happy to talk ship and answer questions. And like I said, I may end up actually doing a some sort of a video or some sort of more organized rant about main dining room situations because I think it's changing a lot. In fact, I'll just quickly add on to this. NCL announced last week that they're going to a fixed menu in their main dining room on Prima. And then they're going to eventually roll it out to the rest of the Norwegian fleet. And it's like, oh, that sounds crazy. So they're not going to rotate through it anymore. And I think part of it is, listen, do they want to push people towards specialty dining? Is that a revenue thing? Oh, of course it is. But the fact is that even without any additional pushes, people enjoy the variety of both complimentary and upcharge dining venues on these modern mega ships. So they don't hit the MDR as much. And reducing the number of options will probably increase quality in the main dining room of any ship that were to do that. So as much as it feels like something's being taken away when NCL announced that, I actually kind of support it. We'll see how the execution is, and then I'll see if I still support it. It'd be interesting to do a Q&A while on a ship. I do that sometimes, so make sure you follow along. Make sure you click the little bell so that you're alerted when we go live. And I'm going to try and schedule them more so that you have like more lead time, so that it says, hey, and whatever, whether it's 10 minutes or 24 hours, Billy's going to be live. I'll definitely be doing that on our upcoming Oasis sailing and maybe on a Princess ship. Maybe on Scarlet Lady, going to do that again. And maybe on another one. What if I told you guys that while I've been on 15 lines so far, that maybe in the next 2 months, it'll be 16 different cruise lines. Going to try out a whole nother cruise line, something different, something that none of you, I'm looking at you, even in the replay, none of you have ever done. What about that? Brandon, like the distributed main dining room on Edge series better than you like the large MDRs on other ships? 100%. I could not agree more. In fact, if you count the 4 complimentary restaurants, the 4 complimentary main restaurants, because there are other complimentary dining venues on Edge series, but those 4 main ones, if you count those as main dining room, I would say that in the last several years, they've represented the overwhelming majority of time of meals that I've spent in main dining rooms on cruise ships. The execution of those venues is fantastic. I like that they're more intimate. It just feels nicer. It makes them more quiet also, which is really important to me personally. I like that there are some things you can get in all of them, but that they have those bespoke menus, and they keep those menus relatively small, which goes back to my point. That can help restaurants focus. And the specialty cocktails that they have there. Yeah, I love that concept. Here's what's interesting. If I'm not mistaken, and I'm blanking on his name, which is very awkward because I've had dinner with him on a ship. The head of hotel services for Celebrity. Man, it's driving me nuts. Like, I doubt you're watching, but sorry if you are. I'll get there. Who was at Celebrity during the time, still there, that they came up with that concept on Edge with the 4 different dining rooms. That was the person that had that job for Royal Caribbean when they launched dynamic dining. Dynamic dining was the idea on Quantum that they brought to Oasis class as well, that ultimately they rolled back, where each level of the dining room was going to have a different theme and a different menu. Didn't work there, but I think it's working really well in Celebrity, and I hope they do it for all of their vessels going forward. And I kind of suspect it will. I've only heard positive things. I'm sure somebody doesn't like it, but I've only heard positive things, which means it must only be positive. Brandon, you've already made your reservation for all 7 nights on Apex next month. This is why we need to cruise together. I never make plans. Contrary to the existence of my blog and channel and whatnot, I don't plan much for myself. I usually need somebody else to do that for me. Annette is wonderful about taking care of that for me. Or I follow Matt when I'm sailing Royal. Um, so yeah, see, we got a cruise together so that I know where to go for dinner. But Brandon, I'm looking forward to your thoughts on Apex. I'm looking very forward to your thoughts on, if you're going, I hope you're going to the Eden restaurant on Apex, because it is completely different than the Eden restaurant on Edge. And as much as I like the Eden restaurant on Edge, I know some people don't. I don't remember your take on it, to be honest. But I actually like the Apex one more just because there's some amazing options, and it's a little easier just because of the format of the meal. We'll say, um, yes, Kim, looking forward to the baked brie in Normandy on Celebrity Edge. Oh man! So you know what we did? Kim was there on the Apex group cruise. We were out at the group of us were out at Rooftop Garden Grill the last night. Rooftop Grill, Rooftop Garden Grill. I think I'm mixing an Epcot restaurant and an Edge Apex restaurant. We're out at the grill on the last night. And we realized, oh no, we never went to Normandy, so we never got the brie pillow. So people in the group, many hadn't had it, and I love the brie pillow. I think it's an excellent option in Normandy. So if you ask nicely, and a couple dollar tip doesn't hurt, we actually had them bring the brie pillow from Normandy up to the Rooftop Garden Grill when we're on Apex, and because all of us were still hungry. Whew, that was rough, but well worth it. Well worth it. Brandon, you don't currently have plans for any. Oh, really? Okay. Sailing with family that wants to do MDR. Will Lily have dinner off the ship in OSJ? I'm guessing it's probably, and then OSJ. What city or port is OSJ? Oranjestad? Is that the abbreviation for Oranjestad? Hmm. Pascal, right? I mean, like, I like cheese and I like naps, and naps need a pillow, so it makes sense, right? Yes, it is a brie pillow in like a puff pastry thing, and ha ha ha. It is the shape changed oddly from when they first started offering it to now. The dish is the same, but the shape changed. I don't know why. Maybe guests surveyed like squares better than triangles, or I don't remember. Old San Juan. That makes sense. I just had dinner in Old San Juan a week ago. I want to be back on a ship. Yeah. All right. Time to go. I gotta go pick up this vacuum thing. Guys, thank you so much for chatting with me. I really appreciate it. It was a busy work week, a little bit of a stressful work week, and talking ship with you guys uh, always makes it better. So we'll keep doing that. If you have questions that I didn't get a chance to answer, make sure you reach out on social media or in the comments down at the bottom of any article at cruisehabit.com. Of course, if you want to do us some favors, I'll list out the favors. One, make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. That would be extremely helpful to me. Check out our most recent video. I promise it's better than it looks, seeing as how no one's watching. And two, if you want really great help planning your next trip, get help from the same wonderful people that plan our travel over at Touring Plans. You can fill out the purple form at cruisehabit.com for a free no obligation consultation. They are wonderful folks, and they do all the hard work for us. So I appreciate it. Christian, thank you for hanging out. Brandon, I will say hi to Larissa. I appreciate each and every one of you, and look forward to talking to all of you again real soon. Oh, and watch out this weekend, broadcasting this weekend from the port. We're going to do sailaways. It'll be fun. Be there, be square.